Flight Boss, bitch, you know, for sure. All right, now we're gonna get into some more deeper science when it comes to the Matrix. And my heart go out to the poor young lady that actually created the concept and had the directors take it from her, which I don't really know. I don't want to dive too much into that, but this story is so impactful. I blame the directors for it only lasting for 3 movies, because when they went to these Asians or the Japanese or whatever to get them to help them with the action scenes, they didn't even have to explain much. They was all the Japanese people, they already know what's going on in the spirit realm, so they was all in. They didn't even have to hear the whole script. They wanted to help and put their support down. So for the most part, the Matrix, I blame the directors for it not even lasting as long as it should be. Because you can develop so much knowledge from the Matrix that whatever lady had created the concept of this truly was in a space and a realm of imagination. But superior imagination. Now, y'all know how I talk about there's only really... It's 9 dimensions. There's only 9 dimensions. 10 numbers including 0, but it's only 9 dimensions, all deriving out of the 0 dimension. So right here, what you're looking at is the crew members of the Nebuchadnezzar, of the Matrix. This is the crew members right here. Now, since there's 9 dimensions, I want you to pay attention to this right here. As the main crew members of the Nebuchadnezzar, right? You got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 crew members. So now don't think that the people who make this movie ain't know what's actually going on. They know what's going on. Or even if they don't, the frequency vibrations that's being back to supported by the names and the energy that's being filtered through the frequency vibration of the names, the energy that's forcing it has no choice but to take shape and form into whatever it is. So whoever are handling these names and these concepts, aka the directors, whatever they're directing and whatever they're about to create has no choice but to take the shape and form of the frequency vibrations, which is the energy of the names and the titles and the concepts that they use to create what we call the Matrix today as a movie. So looking at this, each crew member represents 9 dimensions. Each of the 9 dimensions. You have to know that. Now, this is out of order right now because they got Morpheus down here and up here, so you would think, okay, but due to the fact of the frequency vibrations of each person's name, this is going to let you know what dimension that this person play. What dimensional role. So each person is a dimensional role. So let's break them down right now. So once you know frequency vibrations and energies, you don't even have to watch the movie. You could just know each person's name and automatically know what role they play. And you will know what role they play in the movie without ever watching the movie. And this is how we understand energy. So now, if we already understand energy and you've been watching Archangel Uriel, we know that it's only 9 dimensions. We know that Nebuchadnezzar and the Matrix is a deep movie. There's 9 crew members. So let's break them down to each one. So we already know Neo. Neo represents what? If you just change the letters around, Neo around, it expressed 1. And he was 1 throughout the whole movie. And if you change the letters Neo around, it spell out 1. I didn't mean express, but it spells out 1. So Neo is the 1. So Neo is like the spirit, the frequency. And where did they find Neo at? They found Neo within the Matrix. But Neo always had a sense of what was going on. And you know that based upon the things he was doing within the Matrix. He was a computer tech or things of that nature. And the Matrix is kind of getting you ready to go into the 4th dimensional world. And we're gonna break that down. Why people use the number 13, why it's so powerful, and why the patriarch and the patriotism religion is trying to prepare you for the 4th dimension in their way, but they're doing it by giving you the number 13 so you could be still in the 3rd dimension but just experiencing 4th dimensional shit under control by a 3rd dimensional body, when really we're all supposed to be experiencing using our own 4th dimensional body and not having our 4th dimensional body capsulated within via social media pages and you creating email accounts and things of that nature. So and websites and social media pages. So look, Neo represents 1. So this is like the frequency. So like now you probably thinking like, okay, well he was in love with number 2. So no, you're gonna be wrong off the bat. Now Morpheus, what does Morpheus represent? Morphing things together, or something morphing into something. So morphing combines things. You see what I'm saying? So Morpheus is like if If Neo was the one, which would be the frequency, Neo will be Morpheus would be number 2. What came second? The vibration. Because it's like he showed Neo the other side of the mirror. He showed Neo the duality of something. He showed Neo that there was another side to something. You see? So that's a person who's bringing a person into the subconscious realm of the realm of reality. The realm that you are in unaware of. You see what I'm saying? So it's the subconscious. It's not what you're consciously aware of, what you could consciously see. It's the subconscious. So this is what Morpheus taught Neo. So Morpheus represents 2. He represents the second dimension, which will be the yin realm. You see what I'm saying? It represents the dream or the imagination or behind the mirror. And then that actually happened in the movie. And then actually Morpheus was the one who gave Neo the choice to take what? 2 different pills. Which I don't know why Neo ain't just take both of them or didn't take neither of them. I would have been like, man, if you took me this far, motherfucking, you could take me the rest of the way. I don't need to pop no motherfucking perky. The perkies wasn't calling that day. Now let's go to 3. Now 3, this common sense. Trinity. What does Trinity mean? 3. So she was the thing. She brings things together. She made things whole. You see what I'm saying? She's the womb. She made them whole. When these 3 came together, they had a bond that none of these other keywords 6 other people were actually applying. So even though they may have all one-on-one relationships with each other, when these 3 came together, that's when you start to see the real magic. You start to see real manifestation. You start to see things really start being created. You start to see the story really take off. You start to see things take place. You start to see the plot. You start to see the concept. Because it's a whole. You need the frequency and you need the spirit to become an individual. You need something to show the spirit that it's an individual. And once the spirit become an individual, it can take a body. It can have something to appreciate and love. You know what I'm saying? And value. And what happened? Motherfucker loved Trinity. You know what I'm saying? Now, we got to get, so this represents the 3. Now we got to get to who's 4. Now, you got these names. You got Swift. That wouldn't be it. You look, Cypher. I don't want to ring around and make things a spectacle. Cypher. Cypher represents 4. Now, this going to represent the 4th dimension. So if this represents the spirit, this represents the spirit becoming an individual. Number 2, which is Morpheus, the duality, the dream. This represents a whole being, right? So this is 3. Trinity is 3, which 3 is 1. Then we got 4, the cipher, the 360, the cipher, the circle, the circumference, the circumstance, the situation around the whole. So the whole, the circumstance and the situation that surrounded the whole was what? The traitor. This would surrounded the initial situation, right? He brought the initial situation. He brought the circumstance, the cipher, the circle. He brought the circle around the whole. He created the 360. And the 360 that they was in was what he put them in. This was what the whole first movie was about. What the fuck he did. Now he represents the 4th dimension. Cypher. So what was he doing? Now pay attention to this, right? Cypher was jealous. Why was Cypher jealous? Because 1 liked it 3 and 3 was resonating with 1. Based upon what 1 have understood from 2. So you won't get 2 without the 1. So once 1 understood its own individual, that became 2. So it took the 2. It took the morphin. It took Morpheus, right? And then it became whole. It needed a body to go into, something to love, to appreciate, to make something mean something, the energy of something. So it was Trinity, right? So you can't have 1 or 2 and 3. They don't exist without each other. See what I'm saying? They don't exist without each other. 0 is the matrix. The needs don't exist without each other. You see what I'm saying? Now, as far as 1 and 3 now being intertwined as 2, duality, what brought them together as Morpheus, now 4 are going to get jealous. Now, ain't this crazy? Because in numerology, 3 plus 1 is 4. So it is a coincidence that 4 is jealous because 1 and 3 are mingling together. And 1 and 3 are 2 people. So it's this whole shit that's making him upset and create a cipher, create this negative cipher for them. So his name is Cypher. Now he represents the fourth dimension. Now what was he doing in the movie? Making deals and shit with motherfuckers, the agents in the Matrix. So this will be correlated to a motherfucker who make deals, aka deals period. Anytime you sign your name on a signature dotted line, you a motherfucking cipher. You see what I'm saying? You a motherfucking agent. Because you can have all this knowledge, but the moment you sign an agreement, a terms and condition to only put your knowledge in this realm of reality to receive this type of gain and be backed and supported by this corporation, this is where you get the concept of gag orders and a person not being able to say what they truly mean because of what radio station that they're channeling, that they have to program under. You see what I'm saying? So that's Cypher. Making deals and shit within the Matrix. Making deals with police, snitching, or making deals with corporations, making business deals, whatever you have to do in this masonry building type of realm of reality that's being created. That was Cypher. So when we got the fourth dimensional concept of a cipher, you got him going back and forth within the what? The internet. So what did he eventually come up with trying to do? Right? He said, fuck the zero round, fuck the Matrix, fuck the being, fuck the body, fuck the, oh shit. He said, fuck the body and the spaceship and all that shit. I want to live in the fourth dimension and never come back. So he wanted to go within the Matrix because he know that he could create whatever concept he want to in the Matrix, and he don't have to deal with the oppression of the real emotions and feelings of the world. You know what I'm saying? He could develop his own and have his own separate world within the world that they are connected in as one, as these three. So he got jealous, and he understood that this only leads to pattern and being into one concept, when really this going into the Matrix is leading into where we all need to go. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I'm saying this is a mind state by being in the fourth dimension as a cipher. So he created a circumstance and a situation for the body to go through and bounce back and forth from those frictions and able to develop themselves to withstand the cipher that they're going through, aka the circumstance that they're going through, the situation. So he represents the fourth dimensional energy. Your learning about your surroundings, what's around you, and understanding the information. So the first dimension is, you see what I'm saying, selfishness, looking at looking at everything from a selfish point of view, or being single-minded, or having to see things for self. This is Morpheus is looking at the duality of things. Here's a line being drawn, the other side of something, another part. Trinity represents the whole. Now it's three, it's a whole now. Now this could be thought of, vibrated, and brought into physical realm of realities, or brought into some type of form of energy. He represents now, and this is Trinity represents the surroundings also, but the body that you are in, not the surroundings when you look around, the surrounding as of what you are in. So this is what they was in. Neo was in love. See what I'm saying? So these not even people, they represent concepts. Now Cypher represents the circumstance, the situation, aka fourth dimension. Learning about the surroundings, learning about the third dimension, learning everything that's in it. You see what I'm saying? And what's around it, and gaining information. Now we're going to get into the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and the 9th. Now we got somebody named Dozer and Tank. Now Dozer is the brother of Tank. Now Tank, what did Tank do? Tank controlled the ship. He flew the ship. He knew how to control the ship and fly the ship and steer the ship and do all this, that, and the third. He flew the ship. So he didn't go into the Matrix. He just controlled it from where he was at, based upon looking at it and inserting the programs and shit when they need it. So he was controlling their imagination from the ship. So his name is Tank. So he was the actual light body. So Tank is the 6th 6, the sun. That's the sun. This is the planet. And if you want to correlate it to this too, Neo be the spirit, you know, Morpheus would be the soul, Trinity would be the body, and then Cypher would be the fourth dimensional body, you know what I'm saying, which is the oversoul, you know what I'm saying, the circumstance. And then we get Dozer. Dozer is the planet. He hold things together. He kept things relative. So he was like security. He was like the resource. You know what I'm saying? He was like the stability, the foundation that people could fall on. You know, he was like the bodyguard. He's like the influence, the body that's there, keeping things in rotation and make sure things don't go too far this way and things don't go too far that way. So he was like the balance. You know, this is why the 5 is like perfection, and it's dealing with fire and flight and fly and all these and height and high and all this shit and pi, because you know 5 is able to see things from a balanced level. It's able to see 6, 7, 8, and 9 from its relative perspective at an even state as it's able to see 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. So 5 can bounce between, but able to see all perspectives. See, once you get into 6, 7, and 8, you know, sometimes you can see both sides, but you might lean towards more of that side of the spectrum. And if you was 4, 3, 2, you lean more of this. You see what I'm saying? So he kept the balance. He was like the planet. That's Dozer. So the sun, who was Tank. He was the light body. He controlled the illusion. He controlled the ship. He flew the ship, gave the ship direction. That's what the sun do. And think about it. He had the most character also. He was the most witty. He was the most comedic. He had the most personality, and it took the most to get him down. And he was the one who actually saved the shit from the fourth dimensional oversoul motherfucker, which is Cypher. He saved the rotate. He saved the fucking direction, the travel, which we're all traveling. What? The sun, the ship. He saved the ship. He came in some way, shape, and form and destroyed this motherfucking oversoul that tried to play as Jesus or something like that. You see what I'm saying? Now we get to 7. 7 is swift. So she always like the form of information. Now look, the further away the characters get, the less physical it is. The further away the dimension, the less physical it is, and also the less role that they played in the movie also. You know what I'm saying? That's fucked up, but it's real. So you guys, Swift, you know, the less roles and scenes she had, because she's number 7. So Swift, the S word, 7. So she was a form of sense. You know what I'm saying? She was a form of sense. Even before she died, what was the words you heard? Not like this. Not like this. So she was a form of like moral. It's like 7. It's like angel. She's the form of wisdom. When she died, something had to happen. After that, they're like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? So angels come give you forms of information. And that's what she plays, Swift. And the 7th dimension. That's like a, you would say like, if the 6 was the sun, the 7th dimensional being will be a solar system. A sun now becoming to understand that it's a whole system and it's not just itself. So she played like the whole thing, and once she fell, the whole body was in chaos. So things had to take place after that. You know what I'm saying? She was like the last person, I think, to fall and get killed before this motherfucker got, the Cypher nigga got shot. And then you have the 8th dimensional, which was the galaxy, APOC. He's like a galaxy member. So this is the 8th dimensional. He's like receiving or soaking in your benefits and your pleasures that you are already in. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't really have to play much. He was already there, and he was already substantiated in the circumstance and the situation that they are. He was all the way all in. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't no ifs and buts about him. So he didn't really have to have a lot of roles, but that's kind of like the 8th dimension right there. You see what I'm saying? Now, the 9th dimensional character role was this motherfucker. I forgot his name, but homeboy right here. And he was the motherfucker creating the programs. So he'd be like the universe being, the 9th dimensional, the person who got wisdom and knowledge over the overall experience. So that's this motherfucker right here. So for the most part, this nigga, he was creating the programs. He was creating the concept of the chick in the red dress. He was creating the programs and stuff for them to learn for Tank to even upload in the system. He was making these programs. So that lets you know he was the smaller version of the archetype for them. He's the ninth dimensional character for them. And then when you bring this all together and understand the actual story of the Matrix, it all makes sense. It all makes sense why the one had to start doing energy like the ninth dimensional being in reality. You see what I'm saying? He started creating these concepts literally. After he had to learn it though. He had to gain that wisdom from the ninth dimensional being. But he had to learn who he really was from the duality of himself, from morphing into running Morpheus. And he became whole once he experienced love and experienced the connection of the flesh and things of that nature, which gave him the strength and gave him a meaning, a reason in the fight, which gave him the strength, which made him even save her when she was about to die and fall off the bridge and shit. That gave this nigga the strength and motivation and meaning and reasoning. So that became a whole body. Then you got the fourth dimensional body, an extension of that, and it gets lost and confused because it's a very new part of itself and things of that nature. And so you understand what this motherfucker was trying to do as an oversoul, trying to get claim and move on as freedom as it want to. You understand the fifth dimensional being, which was Dozer. Motherfucker was keeping things together, making sure nothing go too far this way or too far left, keeping things stable, bodyguard type shit. You know what I'm saying? Then you got you got Tank controlling the ship, and that was his brother. So planets and stars, it's like the motherfucker related. A planet grow right into a motherfucking star. They brothers. So he was the star of the motherfucking ship. Then you had all the common sense of the ship, which was 7. Then you had 8, which a nigga who was comfortable with being there, no questions asked. Then you got the motherfucker who creating all these motherfucking programs and shit for these motherfuckers to get into of the whole shit. And you got the fucking Matrix. And the Matrix ain't nothing but a ninth dimensional ass movie. Goddamn. Air.